Okay guys, more on the library in Logic Pro X. This is going to be a short one, but it's very important. In the library, in the preferences, you might not have noticed enable patch merging. This is very cool. Now, here's the project as we left it after the last library tutorial. And remember, we've got 6 auxiliary returns in the mixer that different tracks and their channels are sending out to. And if you remember, we created 6 tracks for those 6 auxiliary returns, which are currently hidden. We can show them by unhiding them. There's the 6 tracks for the 6 auxiliary returns, right? We created those tracks so we could select those tracks and have the auxiliary return channel appear here in the inspector column, so we could access the library for it reliably and create and save our own auxiliary return effects-based channel strip presets, as well as bus channel strip presets, etc. All right, let's rehide those. But the point is this: we've got all these auxiliary returns living in the mixer, and all of them have got reverbs on. And these were created when we loaded channel strip presets for things like instrument tracks and audio tracks, etc. Right? Because pretty much every channel strip preset that you load from the library loads up at least one auxiliary send as part of that channel that it's loading. And of course, if it loads an auxiliary send as part of the channel, or 2 auxiliary sends, then it has to also load the auxiliary returns to go with those auxiliary sends. So every time you load a channel strip preset, it loads up usually 2 auxiliary sends and their return channels, and each of those sends sends out to usually a small or a large reverb. So you can have the ability to add small or large reverb to that thing that you've added to the track in its channel. But that means that we end up with all these auxiliary returns, usually 2 for each loaded channel strip preset, and each of them just has a small and large large reverb on. So we end up with all these auxiliary return channels, all with small or large reverbs on, which is a complete waste of CPU resources. Ideally, what you want to do in your mixes, in any DAW this is, not just Logic, is you want to have just 2 reverbs, a small and large reverb, or maybe 3, a very small, short ambience type reverb, and then a small room or hall type reverb, and a large reverb that anything can send out to add small or large reverb to anything in the mix. But you're only using 3 reverbs or 2 reverbs. Right, but as I said, the problem with this is that when we load a channel strip preset, it tends to load 2 auxiliary sends and their auxiliary returns, and you're simply adding 2 more reverb plugins, which keeps on adding more stress to the CPU. Look, let's create a new instrument track, and it's going to be blank. There'll be nothing on it. Okay, there it is. Now we've got 6, there's its channel in the mixer. Let's colour that different so we can clearly know what it is. Make it pink like that, right? Okay, we've loaded a blank instrument track in its channel ready to be populated with the channel strip preset. And before we populate it, we have 6 auxiliary returns already existing, each with a reverb on. So I now go to this track. Here's its channel. Blue triangle's pointing to the setting slot at the top, and I'm going to add synthesizer classics massive saws. Ready? 1, 2, and watch the mixer, this end of the mixer when I do this. 1, 2, 3, load that channel strip preset. Boom. And it loads the channel strip preset massive saws and populates the entire channel for the track with the instrument itself, with the particular multi-oscillator sawtooth patch, a bunch of audio effects, and 2 auxiliary sends, sending out on bus 22 and bus 23, and then it's created those 2 auxiliary returns receiving on bus 22 and 23, which sure enough have got 2 different reverbs in. So now we've got 8 auxiliary returns with 8 reverbs in total, adding more stress to our CPU. Okay, let me undo the adding of that patch, the loading of that patch, Command Z. We're back to a blank instrument track and its channel again. If you go to the library here and enable patch merging, look, you can define what loads with a channel strip preset. So I can turn off sends. Now when I go to load any channel strip preset, it will load everything for the channel but not the auxiliary sends and their returns. So there's the track, here's its channel, blue triangles pointing to the settings slot at the top. Let's load massive saws again. Here we go, 1, 2, 3, boom. It loads up the massive saws channel strip preset, the instrument with its patch, all the audio effects, but this time it doesn't load the auxiliary sends as part of that channel strip preset because that's been turned off in the patch merging. And as a consequence of that, because it loads the entire channel but not the sends, we don't get the 2 auxiliary return channels being created with 2 additional reverbs. Now on the channel for that loaded patch, I can manually add my auxiliary sends, sending out to any of the already existing reverbs on auxiliary returns that are in my mix already. I'm not adding more and more reverbs or other return effects every time I load a channel strip preset, and that is really cool. Let me undo the loading of that channel strip preset, Command Z. And of course, if you want, you can turn off audio effects. Now, if you turn off audio effects and then load an audio channel strip preset, the channel strip preset won't load anything because audio channel strip presets only consist of audio effects and sends. But for instrument channel strip presets, if you turn off audio effects, I can now load massive saws from the library, boom, and it loads just the synth with the multi-oscillator sawtooth patch, but it doesn't load any of the audio effects and it doesn't load the sends. Now I can add whatever effects I want to that synth and its patch that was loaded, and I can assign sends on the channel to send to any of my already existing auxiliary returns for things like adding reverb and delay, etc. And that is this patch merging, which is incredibly cool, particularly for being able to turn off the sends, because there's nothing more annoying than adding lots and lots of channel strip presets and then you end up with something like 12 auxiliary returns and they've all got different reverbs on. They're all using up CPU and it's a complete waste. So there you go. That is patch merging, and to turn it off, just boom, and it's gone. And you can get back to it any time, right? Alrighty, patch merging. Das ist cool, ja?